SportsGrid's coverage inside the big game rolls on right here from Radio Row. Sam Yarnell alongside Jayson Werth. Jayson, thank you for taking the time for us. How are you enjoying your time on Radio Row so far?
Well, first time here. It's quite the experience. It's pretty cool. I thought we'd come in, see what's up, and promote Icon Racing a little bit and support the Philadelphia.
Yeah, so let's talk about Icon Racing just a little bit, Jayson. First of all, obviously in your post-playing days, what kind of got you interested in horse racing and drew you to get a start in that kind of business?
So it's weird. Obviously we would follow the Kentucky Derby. But that's like most sports fans. That's about as far as you go, right?
Sure.
Maybe you follow the Triple Crown, but outside of that, if you're not in horse racing, that's about all you know. And that was me. About 4 years ago, played golf with some guys that owned some Florida breds. I was like, this looks like fun. Let me, how do I get into this? Grabbed they call it owning a leg, so you own like 25% of a horse. So
gotcha.
And I went to Tampa Bay Downs on like a Tuesday, and it was like Tuesday afternoon, like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, a low-level claiming race. Like it'd be like going and watching like a A-ball game.
Sure.
And I own this horse, so I'm like, oh, there's my horse. I'm like, it's cool. You go in the paddock, you tell good luck, and then they go out and they run, get on the track to warm up, and I'm like, why am I nervous? I don't get nervous. Like I never got nervous. All of a sudden I'm like sweating, and then like the gates open, and then I've been retired for like 3 years, and that's when it was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm back on the field.
Yeah. And
so it was that type of feeling, like this is incredible. I get to feel like I'm playing again, and this was for a low level race, so it was kind of like the hook, line, and sinker. Like that was my entry into it, and I was so intrigued. I was like, well, how do I get more? I need more horses,
yeah.
Right? So started buying some more horses, partnering with some people, kind of learning about it. It's a tough sport to get into, right? It's like, how do you get into horse racing? And then a couple years ago, I was at the sale in Cleveland, at Keeneland, and I walked into the bar, and I could have went left, I could have went right, I went right. So I was like, oh, I know those guys. And I started talking to Danny Gargan, the trainer of Dornoch. And he's like, you should get on this horse. I got this horse, just grab 10%, whatever. Just experience it.
Sure.
I was like, I don't know. He convinced me, all right. So that turned out to be a life-changing venture. I mean, Dornoch changed the course of time, and now he's kind of been the reason why we started Icon Racing and this whole thing we're doing.
Dornoch, obviously the winner at the Belmont. Jayson, you talked about that nervousness with these horses and being an owner and having a stake in them. Tell me what's more nerve-wracking to you, having a horse about to run in the Belmont or stepping into the batter's box to face a former Cy Young winner?
Yeah, I never got nervous playing baseball. I mean, biggest games, World Series, whatever, I was always calm and no problem. So this whole nervousness thing is kind of new.
Yeah.
So it's that's what intrigued me the most. Like, man, I can't believe that this sport and these horses can just evoke this much emotion. And so for a retired athlete, it's really tough to figure out how do you recreate what you did every day, those emotions, and the pre-race nerves is one thing, but when they open the gates and the horses are running, that's when you start getting fired up. It's like I tell people, when those horses come around the turn, it's like being in the dugout, bases loaded, 2-run game, and one of your teammates hits a ball into the gap.
Yeah.
And you're waving around the guy from first, and you're going crazy. You're punching your teammates, and you jump so high you hit your head on the dugout, and that's what it's like on race day when the gates open. So it's like a full spectrum of emotions. You can't really create it any other way. And for retired athletes or anybody, I think horse racing is a great sport. That's why we're trying to we started Icon Racing to really bring people into the sport on the ownership side.
All right, so we're here at the big game. We only got a couple of minutes left here, Jayson. Give me your thoughts and give me a pick for the big game coming up on Sunday.
Well, obviously Eagles all the way. My time in Philadelphia was unbelievable. So go Birds. But I'm also a gambling man. And if you had to ask me my best bet outside of some of the kind of like props bets,
sure.
My best bet I think is Eagles first half.
Love it. All right. Well, Jayson Werth, thank you so much for popping on with us. Make sure you're checking out Icon Racing, keeping up with all of Jayson's horses throughout the racing season. Jayson, thanks so much, man.
All right, man. Go Birds.